Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Day 10 of the Toronto International Film Festival. My name is Luisa Alvarez Restrepo, and I work here with the festival programming team. To begin, we would like to acknowledge that today's event is taking place on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of New Credit and the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and the Huron-Wendat. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community. As an extension of the TIFF Kids International Film Festival, we are pleased to present this family-friendly film. TIFF Kids programming is supported by the City of Toronto and the Ontario Arts Council. This film is eligible for the Girls' People's Choice Award. Vote for your favorite films at tiff.net/vote. We would like to thank Shout Factory and Indie Sales for providing us with this film. We would also like to thank Cinema do Brasil for their generous support. TITO and the Birds is directed by Gabriel Bitar, Gustavo Steinberg, and André Catoto. Gabriel Bitar is an animator, painter, and a photographer based in Sao Paulo. He has directed the short film The City and the Desire No. 5. TITO and the Birds is his first feature film. Gustavo Steinberg was born in Sao Paulo and works as a producer, screenwriter, and director. His films include End of the Line, and TITO and the Birds is his latest feature. André Catoto was born in Rio de Janeiro. He is the director of the films Segredo and Say I Am Only 17. TITO and the Birds is his first feature. TITO and the Birds is a vibrant fantasy creating using oil paintings, digital drawings, and graphic animation. In it, a young boy and his two friends set out on a mission to find his father's missing research on bird songs, the one thing that just might save the world from an epidemic where being afraid makes you ill. It's a beautiful film, and we're so glad you could be here to watch it with us today. And now, please join me in welcoming director Gabriel Bitar to the stage.
Hi, thank you everyone to be here. I'm gonna speak Portuguese because it's my language and I kind of nervous, but I have a translator. Bom, muito obrigado. O filme se passa, eu vim de São Paulo e acho que a história ela tem bastante base nisso assim. É uma cidade um pouco hostil, tem muitos muros e muitas câmeras e arames farpados. E tem essa sensação de medo, assim, as pessoas, acho que cada vez mais elas estão assustadas, andando nas ruas e eu acho que o filme fala um pouco disso, assim, mas cada cidade que a gente passa, as pessoas se identificam com isso de outras formas, assim, acho que o medo, ele tem muitas maneiras de agir. Acho que a gente pode conversar um pouco mais depois do filme, foram 8 anos de produção. E esse é um marco do fim disso, é quase uma celebração. Então, é muito importante vocês estarem aqui. Eu agradeço realmente a presença de todo mundo. Obrigado.
So, hi everyone. I came from São Paulo, as you know, and I feel like the movie represents a lot of that city because there are lots of brick walls and lots of sort of corners and that fear that goes around the city. So you'll see a lot of my own city where, in the movie that I'm going to show. And obviously, in every city, people get this different feeling and impression, so you'll be able to maybe identify yourselves with as well. This movie, we are coming out to a milestone. It's been 8 years of work, so I'm very happy to be here today. We can talk a little bit more about it later once the film is done with the Q&A, and then we'll have the Q&A. So I just wanted everyone to enjoy the movie. Thank you.
Fantastic. So I will start just by asking the first question, and then just put your hand up if you have any questions, and we'll get to as many as we have time for. My question is, I know this film took a really long time to make. What sort of first drew you to the project? Why did you want to get involved in the project?
Bom, eu tinha escrito muitos curtas assim no festival de curta-metragem em São Paulo. E todos com um estilo bem diferente, assim, todos meio esquisitos. E um dos produtores desse festival é o Gustavo Steinberg, que é o roteirista também, o co-roteirista e co-diretor. E aí ele tinha essa história, então isso acabou atraindo a atenção dele, assim. E ele falou, pô, se eles conseguem fazer curtas, de repente ele consegue fazer um longa-metragem. E aí a gente começou a trabalhar nesse projeto desde cedo.
Okay, so I've been writing lots of short films in São Paulo for a festival, and all of them have this sort of different style that you could see here. And in one of those, I met producer Gustavo Steimer, and he saw the story, he found it interesting, and then he also met me and thought if he can, this caught his attention. So he said, if he can do short films, maybe we can do an actual long film. So that's how the whole idea started.
Fantastic, thank you. I see, yes, a hand right here.
I love the use of oil painting.
Adorei você usando pintura a óleo.
It gives it a handmade look that so much animation is missing now. I wonder if you talk a little bit about why you chose to do that.
So we love the oil painting, as everyone does. If you can talk a little bit about why you chose to do that and sort of that handmade quality that we're missing now.
Bom, a gente queria fazer o que atraiu, assim, no começo foi a questão do medo. Então, eu comecei a fazer uma pesquisa na história da arte para tentar ver quem que trabalhava bastante com essas questões. E eu me deparei com o movimento dos expressionistas, principalmente no começo do século passado. E eles fazem bastante uso da tinta a óleo, e eu queria trazer isso para o filme, mas a gente não tinha recurso para trabalhar com tinta a óleo o filme inteiro. E aí a gente criou um estilo de técnica mista, misturando a animação digital dos personagens e também os cenários foram pintados no Photoshop, mas misturando com tinta a óleo e, por cima de tudo, tem bastante stop motion de tinta a óleo feito com vidro para trazer esse look, essa cara.
Okay, so our initial idea just was brought to life because we were thinking about fear, that feeling. So I started doing research in the history of art, and then I came across the Expressionist group from the last century, and there's lots of oil painting, and we wanted to do it for the entire movie, but we didn't have enough resources for that. So we decided to use it. We decided to use a different style, which had mixed techniques. So we were doing digital animation along with scenarios of paintings, and then we took pictures of those and worked with Photoshop, so we can have this mixed style and also bring the oil painting to the feature as well.
Did you see Love Vincent last year?
Yeah. Eu assisti o La Vincent em Annecy, na estreia mundial no passado, mas aqui a gente acho que tem uma coisa do expressionismo mesmo, né? Porque ali eles trabalham com os atores, então ele usa a tinta óleo em cima dos atores. Aqui a gente tenta trazer a tinta óleo como emoção, né? Como uma coisa mais gráfica, mais.
Yes, I did watch it. I watched it in the screening last year. And here, of course, that was an inspiration, but here what we try to do is use more of the expressionism and the ideas. There in that feature, they used oil painting along with the real actors. And here our idea is to bring oil painting along with the feeling that we wanted to show in the movie.
And can you also sort of explain for everyone just how big the canvases were that you're working on in terms of scale?
Tem algumas câmeras, né, que são meio malucas e na verdade são combinações de telas, assim. Então algumas eram bem grandes, assim, falar em número de pixels, assim, chegavam a 40 mil pixels de largura e a câmera ia passeando por esse cenário. 40 mil.
So we used what I would call some crazy camera angles, and we did a lot of combination of different canvases. So in numbers of pixels, I would say 40,000 pixels.
And then the size of the paintings, they were like this big, right?
Eu tinha que trabalhar rápido, então quanto maior o tamanho do canvas, mais era demorado para fazer as animações. Então, às vezes eu trabalhava desse tamanho mais ou menos, ou assim, mas nunca passava muito disso.
So I had to work really fast. So the larger the canvas, obviously, it would it would take longer. So I would work with smaller canvases like this size or this size so that we could produce it fast enough.
Fantastic. Did I see another hand that was up in the back somewhere? No. Oh, right there. Thank you.
Queria saber sobre a técnica. Eu baixei aplicativo de animação. Você pode mover o personagem enquanto você filma. Você usou pouco dessa estratégia e junto com o stop motion para fazer o background.
Fantastic. So we have a young animator in the back who has downloaded an app, and so we're just curious as to all the different techniques that we used in terms of creation.
Bom, tô falando com um profissional. A gente trabalhou com animação digital, né, que é muito usado em várias séries de animação, que é a animação de cutout. E aí, por cima disso, realmente tem o stop motion, que tem vários programas que você pode baixar, que até para celular mesmo, e você consegue trabalhar com essa técnica. Então, no stop motion, você consegue trabalhar com 3 formas diferentes. Você pode trabalhar com a modificação desse material, você pode trabalhar com o deslocamento ou com a substituição.
So I am speaking to a professional here. That's great. So let me share a bit more. We work with digital animation, and this is used in several series. And what we used was cutout, and on top of cutout, we were using also stop motion. And there are several ways you can even download some apps on your own phone to do that. And we decided to use this technique. And whenever you use stop motion, there are 3 ways that you can do so. You either change, move, or replace whatever you're working with.
Fantastic. Yes, right down here. So we're looking, was it technique that dictated story, or story that then sort of dictated technique, or sort of how the 2 things were married together?
Então, foi realmente a pesquisa do expressionismo, assim. Então, acho que foi o expressionismo que escolheu a gente, assim, na verdade, né?
It was actually our choice of going through using expressionism, and that we like to say that is what chose us to do this.
And just on the sort of overarching subject generally about fear and sort of the spread of fear, this is, something that's obviously it's very heavy in the news right now. It's sort of everywhere. This is like a big topic for everyone in terms of mass media. Why did you want to take this subject that's often reserved for sort of a more mature adult audience and put it in a context that was sort of accessible for kids?
Então, o assunto do medo acho que é uma coisa que está sendo pouco pautada no mundo e é uma questão que está super presente, assim. E eu não sei se a nossa geração conseguiu achar alguma resposta para isso, então a gente está apresentando essa questão para as crianças e esperar que elas tragam alguma resposta para isso.
We know that fear and the subject of fear is not very much talked about, but yet it is still very present amongst us. So we don't believe that our generation actually found a solution for that. So by proposing this to a kid's audience, maybe they will be the ones to find the solution for that one.
Yes, go for it.
Yeah.
In the United States, I come from the U.S., and we thought we had a monopoly on people screaming at us on TV, trying to scare us. Is this also happening?
Yeah, so we talked about this a lot in the first Q&A as well. So sort of the character that we see on the news, who is he inspired by, and also what the relationship is back to Brazil.
Bom, o personagem principal foi inspirado no Trump, isso há 8 anos atrás, antes dele mesmo ser candidato à presidência. Foi até bom que isso aconteceu para o filme, mas acho que é uma coisa péssima para o mundo. E eu entendo que aqui em Toronto vocês têm o Trump de vocês. A gente em São Paulo temos alguns também. E acho que No Brasil tem essa questão da mídia, assim, tem o monopólio da mídia, que é um monopólio quase de séculos já, assim, que tem esse controle. E acho que meu primeiro emprego foi em televisão, então é uma coisa que acho que eu sempre quis retratar.
Yes, the main character was inspired on Trump. We had obviously the original idea 8 years ago, so that was back when he wasn't even president. But in a way, this was good for us because of the movie, but him being president may be not good for the world. And I'm sure that in Canada or in any other countries, you also have your own Trumps. And in Brazil, we also have our versions of Donald Trump as well. And usually in Brazil, we are talking here about a very controlled media for centuries and centuries. And when I had my first job, it was on TV. So I always wanted to somehow approach this subject and find a way of expressing what I was thinking.
Fantastic. Oh, whoa, lots of hands. Okay, go right here.
Quando o pai estava indo embora, ele colocou o capuz. Ele ficou com o capuz o filme todo. Eu amei o filme, parabéns. E ele só tirou o capuz no final. Existe alguma...
So we're asking about the significance of his hood. He puts it up as soon as his dad leaves and doesn't come down until he returns.
Então, realmente tem essa simbologia, assim, que quando o problema chega, né, ele coloca o capuz e no final ele tira quando o problema vai embora. Mas, ao mesmo tempo, ele tem essa representatividade um pouco cíclica, de que problemas eles vêm e vão, assim.
Yes, there is a meaning for that. So usually what we were trying to represent is whenever he put his hood on, it's because the problem was around. And whenever the problem was solved, then he had his hood off. So there is this this sort of cyclical way of dealing with something, and that's what we wanted to show there.
Fantastic. I saw, yes, over, or there's two, so we'll just go to the back and then come down to you in the blue. Yep, go for it.
I'm just curious which movies influenced you, and if by any chance Paranorman was one of them.
Question about influences and if Paranorman was one of your influences.
A gente, quando a gente começou o filme, Paranorman não existia ainda. Quer dizer, eu não sei, acho que eu não tinha conhecimento, pelo menos. Mas a gente procurou inspiração não no cinema, mas em outras formas de arte, assim. E a gente pesquisou mais as pinturas, para citar alguns pintores que influenciaram bastante o filme, foi o Chaim Soutine e o George Gross, que foram as principais referências.
When we started with the idea of the movie Paranormal did not exist, or at least I haven't heard of it. So basically what inspired us with the movie was actually other forms of art, and we went basically going for paintings and other types of inspiration. And the two painters that influenced us was, can you help me out?
Chaim Soutine and George Gross.
Thank you.
And then in the blue, did you have a question?
Thank you.
Eu gostei do mix de expressionismo, distopia e ficção científica. Eu sei que você... Trip to the Moon, Viagem na Lua. Esse filme que fala de distopia, qual é a mensagem que não sabemos? A mensagem é de esperança ou não?
Acho que a mensagem é de esperança, né? Acho que é uma mensagem que a gente precisa estar mais unido e acho que é uma mensagem de união.
The final message is of hope, that everybody needs to be united. So that's what we wanted to show.
Yes, right up here in the center.
I thought you did a fantastic job of representing
Parabéns, a representação do medo foi excelente. Se sentir paralisado, não conseguir se mexer, estar preso nesse sentimento. Minha pergunta é como veio esse conceito de virar pedra e os olhos ficarem
So the question is about how you came up with the sort of once you have fear, sort of you've caught fear, how you came up with the idea of turning into stone with the eyes bulging out.
Acho que você acertou, né? Já perguntou respondendo. A questão é bem essa mesmo. No começo do desenvolvimento, eles viravam árvores e depois eles viravam essas pedras, mas aí a gente acabou tirando um pouco essa metáfora, mas acho que tem um pouco esse lado de você estar voltando também ao mundo natural. Mas a questão central da doença é esse encolhimento de você não conseguir reagir, você ficar imóvel mesmo.
I think you pretty much described what we were going for. So initially, when we had the idea, we wanted to turn people who had fear into trees and then to stones. But then we changed that idea slightly and that metaphor. So, but in a way, what we wanted to show was showing people that that feeling was just turning them back to a natural form, let's say. But the whole concept of representing fear was that of people shrinking and being paralyzed and not being able to move.
Fantastic. Any last questions from the audience? Oh, yes, right here. Go for it.
por que aqueles pássaros.
Great question. Why did you choose pigeon as the animal that sets us free?
Bom, por que não, né? Mas você tem o Mickey Mouse, né, que é um rato. Você tem o Ratatouille, que acho que são esses animais que convivem com a gente desde sempre, assim, as baratas, os insetos, os pombos, né? Eles estão convivendo com a humanidade faz muito tempo. E os pombos, eles têm essa ambiguidade, né? Que ao mesmo tempo eles representam as doenças, né? Leptospirose, sim. É uma coisa que você quer manter longe. Ao mesmo tempo, eles também representam a paz ou o Espírito Santo. Eles têm essa simbologia meio dúbia.
Well, why not, right? So we've seen on TV and on movies Mickey Mouse, which the famous rat, or Ratatouille. So we have animals around us, from cockroaches to pigeons. Those are animals that are present amongst us, and we feel like the pigeon has this ambiguous idea of either bringing something bad, such as diseases, and that's why we want to keep them away. But at the same time, the pigeon represents peace and the Holy Spirit, so that is exactly what we were going for.
Fantastic. And just as one final question, we will go right up there.
I'm from Brazil.
Eu sou brasileira. Parabéns.
And my question is about the cast. There are
Eu quero falar sobre
Brazilian actors in your movie.
os atores.
Why choose and how?
Por que vocês escolheram aqueles brasileiros?
So the question is about the casting and how you came to choose the people who voice the characters.
A gente, quando trabalha numa animação, acho que não é tão custoso trabalhar com um ator bom, assim, porque não são tantas diárias quanto você precisaria para fazer um live action. Então, a gente foi com isso e também esperando ter algum retorno da mídia, porque a mídia sempre é um problema. Mas foi muito bom trabalhar com eles. Eles trouxeram bastante da expressividade. Então, a gente gravou as vozes antes de fazer as animações. Então, os animadores, quando iam trabalhar nas cenas, eles já tinham as vozes feitas pelos atores, não era um som guia, já era uma intenção de cena já. Então, isso ajudou bastante a trazer sempre essa busca pela expressão, pela expressividade. Isso ajudou bastante. Então, trabalhar com atores profissionais realmente bons assim foi super importante.
Well, so we were working with an animation. So in terms of cost, it is not as expensive because to work with good actors, because the time is different from working with live actors. And also we chose famous actors and actresses just because we were hoping that the media would bring also this positive attention, because working with the media sometimes is a bit hard. But the great thing about working with such famous actors, it's because they are highly professional. We recorded all the voices first, and this brought a lot of good things for when the animators just sat down to draw and do everything else, just because they already had the voices to get more inspired and actually that helped a lot portray all the expressions that we were trying to convey. So it was great.
I want to thank you so much for being here and bringing your film to the festival this year. Thank you for being such a fantastic audience. Just a reminder that you can vote for the Girls People's Choice Award at tiff.net/vote. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.